Duto Realty is a homegrown business with an eye for getting the job done right. From football games to Sunday school and everything in between, these ladies care about our community and the people in it. Helping buyers and sellers in all of Florida with all types of transactions, including residential, commercial, farm, or vacant land. They do it all. They even offer auction services and sellouts to always get the job done right. All right, welcome back to another edition of the Goblay Show. I'm your host, Billy Goble, and today we have a special guest. He's a former Clemson Tiger and went into the NFL, played for the Dallas Cowboys and the Atlanta Falcons. And without further ado, I want to welcome our guest, Mr. Woody Dantzler. Woody, welcome to the show, buddy.
Mr. Goble, I appreciate the opportunity to sit, chat, laugh, and hang out a little bit. So looking forward to it.
Well, it's an honor to have you on. Any Cowboy is an honor to have. I feel like if you were Jerry doesn't just pick the guys that are can barely make it. He wants the guys that can help make it. So
exactly, yeah.
Appreciate that. And we'll go ahead and say this. Like what are you up to these days? Like we'll go back and talk about your football career, but what are you up to these days? What's going on with Mr. Dantzler in the year 2025?
Well, so much, but not a lot at all. Honestly, I'm a husband. I'm a father first and foremost. So actually coming up on my 16-year wedding anniversary, I'm planning a getaway for my wife and I. So that's going to be fun. Got an older daughter that's about to graduate college. She's down in Tallahassee at FAMU. Okay. And then my youngest, she's a junior. So she'll be entering the college scene really soon. But apart from that, I'm in sales, do pharmaceutical sales. So I do that. And then also, along with that, I do speaking. I train QBs. Had a mentor program I let go for, but I had to put that on the back burner for a moment. I just had too much on the plate.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, that's kind of what I get going on around here.
Yeah. So, are you when you do the pharmaceutical sales? Do they ask about your? Do they ever say, "Hey, you look like a football player. You look like you might have played or an athlete. You look like you played some ball." Do you ever get that? Or?
The funny part about it, because I'm here in I cover all of South Carolina. I got Charlotte and also parts of Georgia, Savannah, and Augusta. They may see the name if I hadn't been in there before, and then they're Woody Dantzler, and they start, you see the brain started, the wheels start turning, the gears shifting, and are you Woody Dantzler? Clemson, and then then it goes from there. So yeah, but it doesn't happen all the time. It happens sometimes it don't. But it's fun.
Well, I mean, it's always good to be recognized, but I mean, especially when it's a good thing. Instead of right. I had someone on recently, and I was like, you know what, your name speaks volumes for yourself. You can. I said, there's three things that can happen. You can either, when you say, oh, I know so-and-so, and they go, I don't know that person. Or they say, I love that person. Or the third one is, oh.
Yeah, exactly. exactly.
So let's go back. You grew up in South Carolina.
Yes.
I'm assuming because you seem like you went back home and you're doing things today in your home, near the hometown. Where you're based out of, is that where you grew up?
I'm actually a transplanter to the upper state. I'm a low country boy, so I'm from Orangeburg, South Carolina, right below Columbia. That's where I'm from. So I'm not too far from it. Matter of fact, I'll be there later on this week, doing some work. But yeah, we transplanted up this way once I came back, and we've been living here for some time now.
Wow. So saying Columbia, a lot of people don't realize that's where the heart of that's Gamecock. That's Gamecock country there. But you didn't go there. You went to Clemson. So how difficult was that to make that decision of not going with the hometown side team to where you went to Clemson?
Well, the hometown team was actually South Carolina State University. because that's right in North Carolina. So that's hometown. But I get what you're saying. They're closer than Clemson.
Close.
So I hop over Columbia to go to Clemson. And honestly, for me, it was a lot different than most. Never was a sports fan growing up. Yes, I played it, but I didn't get too involved in it. I didn't know anything about Clemson or Carolina until they started knocking on the door wanting to recruit me. So I had no idea what it was. And essentially, making a long story short, it boiled down to a man by the name of Rick Stockstill. He was my recruiting coordinator. He was a receiver coach at Clemson at the time. And when he came knocking on my door, it was just something about him that I trusted. So essentially, I chose to go play with Coach Stockstill. He just happened to be at Clemson. So that's how that happened.
Gotcha. What was the sport that if you didn't follow sports or didn't know much or didn't put too much info, trying to, I guess you should say, follow it closely, what was something that you grew up loving? I mean, what was something as a young child, if did you play football or did you do any?
Yeah. So I played ball. I did little league. Played in middle school. Played ball in high school, obviously. But for me, it was just being outside with my friends. We're from the era where we went outside. You come home, you change your clothes. If you had any homework to do, you get that done, and then you go outside and you don't come back in until it's time to come back in.
Sure.
I hated being outside. So that's what I did growing up. Just hanging out with my friends. That's what it was. But once, you got into middle school and you got into high school, football started to kind of take up a lot of your time. So you go to school all day and you go practice in the afternoon after school. Then it's time to go home. You don't got much time to do much anything else but relax. So just for me, it was just having fun, sitting down maybe at my friend's house and we laugh and joke and we may go get something to eat. We may go to a party, but I've never been a real party type of person. So it's just hanging out.
So if you didn't follow sports, did you emulate anybody, or did you have a favorite athlete? I mean, coming from that area.
So two. So really, my first favorite growing up, because before I got into actual football and track, my dad introduced me to martial arts because I love martial arts. So I got my start in martial arts, and I like to attribute that. That's where my balance comes from: body control, discipline, and being able to do all those types of things. Because I got my start in martial arts. Did that for some years, honestly. And then, but if you want to put a figure on it, the reason why water number one was Warren Moon. Started watching him a little bit. I caught fire with him, and then, I followed him throughout his career. The only team I ever really had was the Houston Oilers when they had the quad squad with Jeffries and Duncan and, that whole crew. So I followed them. And then once Moon left there, I followed him to his subsequent teams, and then once he left the league, it was just kind of, oh well, that's how that ended.
Yeah, Warren Moon was one of those guys that if he would have been on, I mean, I'm not saying Houston wasn't a good team because he had some high caliber players around him, but when he went to other teams, I mean, he did go to the Vikings for a little bit. And a couple others, but you see what I'm saying? If I feel if he was in the right system, which happens to everybody, that's so cliche saying, if Barry Sanders would have had the Dallas Cowboys offensive line, he would have been unstoppable.
Yeah, but then he wouldn't have been Barry Sanders.
That's exactly what I said. I said Barry made himself Barry because he was able to cut, juke, all these things. Emmitt Smith was Emmitt Smith, and they attribute to that line. No doubt that has a big part of it. But if you watch Emmitt Smith highlights, after the initial contact, when he gets into the second level, that's all Emmitt. That's not the O-line. They just made him a hole.
And that thing too, because I know people will talk about Emmitt too, and I we'll get into some of that too. But one of my first impressions of Emmitt was how much of a hard worker he was. You think when I first got there in 2002, granted, he was if I'm not mistaken, he was double digits in the league by then. This is rookie minicamp. He's out in rookie minicamp with us working, which blew my mind. And, so from that moment on, I was like, that's what it takes to be a professional. And, it shows, but he was smart. He was patient. And he knew how to run within the scheme. So that's what made Emmitt great.
it's funny because it makes it more believable because I had Troy Hambrick on and I know you guys were teammates as well, but Troy said the same exact thing. And you listen to somebody talk, and I always give testimony. If somebody, I've always said you can't dispute or you can't dispute testimony, and I just you got to listen to what someone says and then either take it or leave it. But that's the second person. You're the second person that had said the same thing about him. His work ethic, is bar none, just out of this world.
Coach, and the crazy thing about it, Coach tried to run him off the field. He would not leave. And you could tell, obviously, he was just getting back into shape. He was in decent shape, but he wasn't in the shape that he wanted to be in. You could tell. Right. And he was out there pushing himself. And Coach was like, okay, Emmett, go on this side. He's like, no, I'm not going. I'm not going. Yeah. So he knew what he had to do to get himself ready for the season.
Well, he knew that he wasn't in his prime anymore at that point, in that stage in his career. And you got any kind of edge you can get on some young buck, you got to be able to survive hits. And, this season, like Troy said, that 16, 17 game season, it's people don't realize how long that is. You just, the punishment you put on your body, it's just it's amazing.
Yeah. But it was one of those things for me coming in with all this energy and, somewhat pretty much naive to the whole thing. I'm still a kid on the field playing, throw the ball up and get everyone, whoever get the ball get tackled, just out there having fun. Right. That was my mentality.
So did you play, did you play both baseball and football or just one sport?
No, I was football and track. Those are my sports. Okay. Actually, I did baseball for one practice because I love telling this story. So my high school offensive coordinator was the baseball coach, and he'd been trying to get me out there for a couple of years. I think this was my junior year. I actually said, "Okay, coach, I'm gonna come out there and I'll do it." And I went out there. He said, "All you got to do is pitch. You don't got to hit. I don't put you in the field. I just can pitch." So we went out there. He showed me the technique, taught me, and we was out there throwing the balls. Felt pretty comfortable, and I was like, I probably can do this. And then I don't know if it was an omen. I don't know if it was somebody steering me the other way. I go home, and they had this special on TV about hitters getting hit by the pitch. One guy broke his nose. Another guy lost his eye, was permanently blind. And, another guy lost a few teeth. And I'm sitting here like, I went back to school the next day. Coach, I'm going to run track. I'm good.
Wow. So, I'm out. Yeah.
I'm out. So that's how that worked. That was my baseball career, all of one practice.
But listen, I had I played t-ball in Little League, and I really did like it. I hated batting. I hated it. I would rather say, I wish there would have been like a pinch hitter, back in Little League, because I've been like, they can go for me. I don't want to bat. I would rather play the field. Matter of fact, let me go play the field while we're out here. That's how bad I want to be in the field.
But you know what? I've turned into a little softball snob now. I'm looking for a team to get on. I like playing softball.
Yeah.
I've kind of taught myself, not taught, I guess they call it wrong-handed. I used to hit wrong-handed when I was younger.
Right.
So now I can bat both-handed. I actually bat better left-handed than I do right-handed.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
if I was to bat, I bat right-handed if I'm going to bat. But if I were to switch over to left-handed, I would you'd be on the floor laughing. I'd look like Charles Barkley trying to swing a golf club.
Don't say that.
It's not good. Not good. No, but what I said about Little League, it's like, I like playing that, but then I realized, like, look, when you get older, then people start to throw harder. And I'm not willing to get out of the way. It's basically what it comes down to. So I got hit a few times, and I was like, that was the same way with you. I was like, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore.
I'm a person, I really like to look at the details of stuff, and I break stuff down. Yeah. And just to think, I know we talk baseball here, but you just think about the time it takes for that ball to get from the pitcher's hand to travel that amount of distance to go across the plate. How much reaction time you got to have? So that it's remarkable to me that people what they say, I think it's 30 or 40%. You can go and you one of the greatest hitters in the league.
Yeah.
Maintain that. Where else can you go and be 30% and be the greatest of all time? But it's been a skill set, man. I hats off to those guys.
Yeah, and what people fail to remember is they're standing sideways. They're not head up to the baseball. So the catcher, if you ever notice, a catcher can track the ball because he's head up, right? Mm-hmm. If you're standing to the side, you're checking out your peripheral vision, and you've got one eye basically. Like
you just made the case stronger for those hitters, man. I never considered that.
Yep. It makes it so much harder when they're standing sideways and you trying to look down at the pitcher, and he's got full advantage of, and it's almost like football where, the offense has the advantage over the defense because they know where they're going. Defense has to guess. That's the batter. The batter has to guess what pitch you're going to pitch. The catcher and the pitcher are on the same page. So it's like a wide receiver and a quarterback on the same page, and that DB is the hitter. He's got to figure out, where are you going with the ball? What am I going to do when the ball gets there? And that's just reaction time,
That's what made the game fun.
Yep. And that's what makes them, 30% better than me.
Right.
Yeah. So growing up in South Carolina, what was that like? Because I'm a Florida boy. I'm born and raised here in Central Florida, and I've been to South Carolina a few times. I do love it up there. It's very nice. I've been to Greenville, and I've never been to. Yes, and I've never been to. I've been through Columbia, but never stopped. I've been there when I'm going up 95 and take, what is that, 16 or 26 or whatever it is.
26 through Columbia.
26, and that's when I'm going to Pittsburgh. I drive that way and I go up that way sometimes when I go. But we just went to Charleston, and I loved Charleston. It was so much fun there. It was awesome. Took the kids on a vacation one summer, and it was the port towns like St. Augustine, Savannah, Charleston, they're pretty much all the same, but they all have their different little flares, their own little spins on everything, and that's what makes it, different per se. But they're all the same town. It's a fishing town with a drinking problem, they say. So what was that like being like South Carolina? I mean, you hear the football in Florida, but you don't hear a lot about. Is South Carolina serious about their football, just like Florida and Texas and California, or is it different?
That's a good question. I think it's overlooked with the talent that South Carolina produces. It is definitely overlooked. I wouldn't say that it is as big as a Florida or a Texas or a Georgia as far as the way the entire state takes it. But it is just serious or as competitive when you think about the talent and the skill set and the individuals that come out of the state of South Carolina. So in that sense, yes, I mean we definitely can be on par with any other state in the country, even the long other side of the country, California. They like to promise themselves with their football talent, but as far as that is concerned, but yeah. We have the talent, but you wouldn't think it would be. You come out here, you see a stadium, you're like, should that not be condemned or anything? But then next thing you know, you see these kids popping up out of South Carolina that, oh man, this boy can play ball. Yeah. These kids can play ball. So that's what it is. When you think about the competitive nature, the skill set, the talent, we're right on par with any other state in the country.
I mean, and I was second. I don't want to second guess anything from that, but that's what I'm saying. Like I try to figure out what all the different states bring to the table. I've got family in Arkansas, and they talk about how good their football is out there, but you never hear about it. You know what I'm saying? You always get taken back with the bigger teams or the bigger states than it is. And like you said, Georgia, I totally forgot about Georgia. They're making a name for themselves as well. I mean, there's so many. They just showed that one high school in Georgia. I can't remember where it is. I want to say it's up near Flowery Branch, but the stadium is like it looks like a D1 school.
I think that was Buford.
Yeah, was it Buford?
I believe so.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it was Buford. But yeah, I would say we here in South Carolina, we're like a sniper. We're hidden, but you don't know we're there till we hit you. Till we pop on the scene. So you'll never see us. You'll never really pay much attention to us. But then when all of a sudden, next thing you know, we're in your face.
Well, I mean, and I love that. See, back say 30 years ago. Just go back 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
If I gave somebody this analogy, so I'm a big Florida Gator fan because rightfully so. I live here in the state, so why wouldn't I be? But right now, the Gators are not doing very well. As of week 4 or 5, they're not doing very well. Defense is great; they seem to be great, but offense is not helping. And I don't know. I love DJ Lagway, but I have no idea what he's doing right now. And there's so many people that are ready to get rid of him or bench him. Get rid of Billy Napier, but I'm like, guys, you got to understand that everybody's better these days. It wasn't like 30 years ago when Florida would play Kentucky and beat them with Danny Warfel and beat them 65-0, mm-hmm. or when you even knew that Kentucky was there, people would give away their tickets. I mean, you don't do that anymore. I mean, unless you're playing like a little Sam Houston State or something like that, where you like, okay. This should not be a test. Like the Gators played Long Island. I didn't even know they had a university there.
That right there, it's just interesting. People have their opinions and they think they know, or even more so, it's more like they get this entitlement.
Yeah.
Of my team should win, and not just win. You need to crush them, or else you know what? You're sorry, you suck, and get out of my state. Next guy up, give me a new coach and. But it's amazing. It's amazing.
It doesn't work that way. And like I said, we can talk a little bit more about this, but like the whole NIL deals and stuff where when you were in college, that was not even a thing that was remotely, like everybody else was doing. That was like taboo. Like if somebody got paid to do anything, you better not tell anybody. Sanctions, yeah, you'd be, pretty much blacklisted. Like, look at Miami with the recruiting violations and all that. And they were going to get 1997. They wanted to get rid of the football program. It's like, how would you want to get rid of Sports Illustrated actually had an issue on the cover. It says why they should get rid of football in Miami or something like that. Something to the effect of that. But it's like, they wanted to get rid of their football program. I'm like, guys, this is a historic. They just won 3 national championships for that, or 4, or whatever it was. And I'm like, why would you get rid of that?
I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that question, man. It's crazy. It's wild.
Yeah. But I heard Greg Olson. I like Greg Olson. I like to listen to a lot of. I watch the games on Fox on Sunday and. Greg Olson had a great point. He said, if kids are going to go to college, you either get NIL or you get the transfer portal. You can't get both. Because if you go to Clemson and you transfer, you get one transfer, he said. You get one transfer and that's it. You go and you stay for 4 years. Or you get your NIL deal and you don't, you know what I mean? Or you don't go anywhere. You get paid to be there. Or you get a transfer and then you can't go anywhere. But you can't leave every time you don't get to play on the field. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's amazing.
It's an interesting conversation because you'll never hear me say, because I truly believe, these guys go out and I think they do deserve to be paid. I'll never knock that. I'll never say no. However, my thing is, how do you do it right? How do you make it fair?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. But then you flip it over. You can come at this argument from so many different places.
Oh yeah.
And you'll hear people say, why would a kid come out and work? Because when we played, it's like when I come from Orangeburg, South Carolina. I mean, didn't grow up in the best. I wouldn't say I was in the ghetto, but I mean it was ghetto enough. And we're playing. Hey, my mom worked at the wire processing plant for 30 plus years. My dad, he's been disabled from Vietnam War for as long as I know. He ended up later on passing from complications from that. So it's like, man, I got to take care of my family. So I'm out here, I'm pushing, I'm grinding, I'm doing what I'm supposed to. And these kids, no, it's not all of them, but you kind of watch these games and you see a lot of kids like, man, where's the passion? Yeah. Where's the, like someone will say, where's the dog at? Where's that kid that's know that if this don't work out, then it's gonna be bad for me. So you see it in they play, and you see it to some degree, but I don't know if we cross the board, you don't see that as much anymore because now these kids are set.
Well, I think going back to the pay part. I don't think it's supposed to be life-changing money. I think you could pay these kids, and it's so weird to say kids, but that's what they are. You don't realize, I'm 43 right now, and I'm like yelling at the TV. This is an 18-year-old on the TV trying to make a catch. You don't realize they're just kids, man. I mean, when you were 18 or 19 years old, 20, what was? I mean, can you imagine if somebody was like, hey man, like so disappointing. I know there was people that were telling you that, but I'm just like I couldn't imagine looking at that going, what do you want me to do? Like there are places in like South Florida that they bet on the high school games, and they'll be like, you cost me $10,000 because you didn't pass the ball. You're like, what?
I was at a game this weekend. I'm not going to say where I was, but I'm walking down and, the coaches are, halftime, the coaches are coming down and literally this guy just right here standing up. Congratulations, coach. You suck. And I'm saying like, wow. Yeah. And to me, I said, you know what? I know it would be the great equalizer. We can, because, social media and the internet is undefeated. So you know how they will find these people and find their jobs and where they work at and their name. Let's skill trace them real quick. And then you know what? Let's just go down to their job and treat their job like they treat the people when the kids out on the field playing or your NFL team playing. Let's go out on their job and, oh man, how you misspell that word on that? Just really get in their face, be loud. Oh, you suck. You can't read a memo. The email is supposed to go back out at this time. You got an assessment. That assessment's supposed to be done. You only made a 70. You barely passed. You got to make an 80. Let's flip roles a little bit and see how they like it.
Yep. When the shoe's on the other foot, man, I'm telling you, that's when people go quiet. They don't want to. They don't want any part of that. But oh my gosh, when you mess up, man, look out. When you mess up, people are always there. They are always there to point it out. I mean, it's unbelievable. But like I said, you're talking, and you brought up the same thing. You're talking about kids that are playing, and they don't have. I mean, they're playing with what they're doing the best they can.
Yeah,
that's I mean, well, I mean,
the majority of them are, but you have a couple of them that But I get what you're saying. I understand exactly what you're saying. You're exactly right.
You got kids that are, I mean, and there's kids that, and you don't really know, are they giving 100%? You don't know. You don't know. I mean, I could watch an NFL game and see the same thing after somebody gets a big contract, and they're not going to go out and give 110% because, hey, man, the check comes on Tuesday. I'm not worried about it. You know what I mean? There are people like that.
But I'm pretty much guaranteed there's no person that steps on the field or a court or a track and say, oh, I'm just going to go out here and suck today. I'm not going to do very good. They're not thinking that, and the big part of that is as an athlete, as an entertainer, or as, I guess it is entertainment. You go into this understanding that and prepare. It's like you prepare for the game. You got to prepare for all that too.
Yeah.
And that's where, when I get out and talk to people, I'm really big on identity. I'm really huge on people being confident and secure in who they are. Yeah. So when you hear these outside voices telling you how terrible you are, you take the good with the bad, and you be like, no, that's not me. Yeah, I made that mistake, but that's just a mistake. I can fix that and not go into a pity party that a lot of athletes do, especially when they walk away from the game.
Well, I'll give you a prime example. This still. I mean, I've never met the guy, but Jamarcus Russell.
Yes.
When you have somebody. I mean, okay. So I first came across Jamarcus Russell one time because I don't remember who the starting quarterback was for the Tigers for LSU, but they were playing Florida, and they just threw Jamarcus in there, and I go, oh my gosh. This is, you always are waiting for that time. You go, man, they don't have their guy. We got him. Okay. They put this guy in, Jamarcus Russell in, and he balls out. I mean, he balls. Dude, he had one of the best games that he could have. Okay. And I understand that when you don't want to tell somebody, and you know this as well. I'm not telling anything you don't know, but when you have less time to prepare, you're going to perform. Some people are going to perform a little bit better. Now, like you said, if you are a prepared person, then but that leaves one less thing you got to worry about because then you're not sitting there. You're sitting there going, I hope they don't, you know what I mean? Like, I hope I don't suck, like I hope I hope I don't let the team down. You don't have enough time to do that. It's either, let's go play. Let's go see what we got. Take what you got and go with it. And the rest is, I mean, that part was, man, I'm telling you, that game, and I can't even tell you when that was, but I'll never forget that. Like, Florida even picked him up at one time, and they have the hedges in the end zone.
Okay.
They picked him up and threw him in the head, like the defensive line guys grabbed him, and they were really close to the the goal line. And they picked him up, and then, back then, they didn't get flags for that kind of stuff. Right. So they drove him all the way to the back of the end zone. He lands in the hedges, and I'm like, okay, we got him. He's rattled. We got this guy. He's gonna break. He's gonna have mental breakdown right here. You watch, and that just made him key in on everything else. He had a great game, and I'll never forget that. But my point is, you got somebody like that, and then he goes to the NFL, highest paid quarterback at the time or first round draft pick. And then the story goes, have you heard the story about the tape at camp? They say, hey, did you watch tape last night? And he goes, oh yeah, I watched the coverages on the tape. And they go, well, you must not have because that tape was blank. So they caught him in a lie because, yeah.
I know they did that to Manziel. I didn't know that was Jamarcus too. Jamarcus
Russell, yeah. Because he wasn't watching film and they couldn't tell if they kept asking him. He's like, yeah, I watched film. But then he couldn't figure out what they wanted him to do. Like, he couldn't recognize what they were going to do the next day at practice. So they gave him a blank tape and they handed it to him. They said, hey, watch film tonight. And then tomorrow we're going to ask you some questions. And he goes, okay. Come back to camp the next day or practice. And they say, well, what did you think of the film? He says, oh, it's great. I recognize all the coverages. And they go, that tape that had nothing on it. It was blank. And and I'm like, bro, you had one job, man. I mean,
that's it.
It's effort, man. It's effort.
It's definitely a job, and you got to take it.
Yeah.
What else do you have to do?
Promotional consideration paid for by the following: Traveling Tom's Coffee Truck, the delicious mobile coffee truck that brings you the caffeination inspiration you need. We deliver signature coffee products like our Nitro Cold Brew and Caramel Frappe to any occasion or festivity. And for those who don't like coffee, we offer a variety of delicious hot chocolates, energy drinks, lemonades, and teas. That's Traveling Tom's Coffee Truck. Whether your water is supplied by a public municipality or a private well, for residential or commercial use, Purified Water Services LLC has the solutions to provide you with simply clean water. We offer a complete line of professional water filtration equipment and accessories. Soft water makes a difference you can see and feel. Water heater and appliances last longer with less maintenance. Iron and H2S filters eliminate iron stains and offensive rotten egg odors and protects your water softener equipment from iron fouling. No matter what your problem is, Purified Water Services, LLC has a solution. Contact Kenny Williams at 352-446-2709. Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Webster Ace Hardware and Farm Supply are generous sponsors for today's podcast. They have been a family-owned business for 27 years. This helpful hardware store sells items such as archery, Ariat clothing and boots, Wrangler jeans, case knives, Hammond's candies, and live fishing gear. They also have a full selection of hardware, RV supply, propane, Ben Moore, Royal & Clark, and Kingston paints. You need a barn or fencing job done? Custom barn kits and roofing metal are provided at your local Ace Hardware store. What about a new grill for the yard? Traeger, Big Green Egg, Weber, and Blackstone are found here, along with all the accessories to go with it. Stock up your workshop with DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman tools. They got you covered. Remember to go to ace.com to shop their entire line to have items shipped directly to the store. Pat's Taps at Catfish Johnny's. Pat's Taps is Lake Pennsauken's newest tap room, offering 14 rotating craft beers on tap. We also offer bottled domestic beers, seltzers, ciders, and wine, as well as a variety of appetizers and pub. Our family-friendly tap room is a great place to come hang out and enjoy some one-of-a-kind craft beer. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or the Untapped app. Looking for custom apparel that stands out? Welcome to the Stitching Heifers, Bushnell's premier embroidery and custom apparel shop. From custom hats, t-shirts and jackets to unique gifts and business branding, we specialize in high quality, personalized apparel that reflects your style and vision. Step into our exclusive hat bar and design your one-of-a-kind custom hat, perfect for personal flair or promoting your brand. At the Stitching Heifers, we're committed to bringing your ideas to life with exceptional service and attention to detail. Whether it's for you, your business, or a thoughtful gift, we're your trusted partner for all things custom in the heart of Sumter County. Stop by today or visit us online to get started. The Stitching Heifers, custom style, local heart. When it comes to building in Sumter County, experience matters. From remodels, barns, additions, and accessory buildings to creating the custom home of your dreams, our Hogan Construction delivers quality you can trust. Russell is hands-on and on-site daily, going above and beyond to ensure the project isn't just completed, but crafted to perfection. He doesn't just meet expectations, he exceeds them. For a builder who puts integrity and craftsmanship first, call R. Hogan Construction today at 352-793-7660. Russell Hogan Construction. Built on tradition, built to last. Catfish Johnny's Restaurant, serving the Lake Pennsauken and surrounding areas since 1990. For the last 33 years, we have strived to serve great food at great prices and a friendly, casual atmosphere. If seafood isn't your thing, our burgers or wings are the best around. We have daily specials too. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram for more information.
Well, I mean, I can't imagine what it would be like in NFL. I can only speculate what's going on after hours. That the part, do people party? Do they hang out? Do they have a good time? Yes, probably. But other people take it from one extreme to the other, and other people, there might be somebody in there that studies his playbook the whole time because they're scared to death of getting cut. But then you got another guy that goes to the club till 2, 3 in the morning, 4, 5. Practices at 8 o'clock in the morning, and he's rolling. He don't even roll into bed. He don't even get in bed. He's just like, all right, I'm out.
Sleep in his car and come in.
Yeah, sleep in the car.
The thing about that is, I learned this a long time ago, man. The thing with money doesn't make things better. It doesn't change things. It just amplifies who you are. Right. And you see that. Now, some people, when they make an actual character change, that's different. But until that happens, what money does is it's going to amplify who you are. And you see that a lot. A lot of stuff gets covered up in high school because you're the star athlete. It gets covered up in college because you're the star athlete. Not so much now because all these cameras are out and they're going to you'll get caught really quick and people crazy enough to post their foolishness on social media. Yep. But when you get to the league, it's a business. These guys are invested in you. If they feel like you got a return on their investment, then you're expendable like the next guy. You're not, like you said, you making us look bad. That's one thing we joke around about that. especially in the black household. We had really one rule when we went out in public: don't embarrass me. Most, and I'm not going to pigeon that hole and say just a black thing. I think that's a parent thing. Don't embarrass me. When you walk out this house, don't embarrass me. And that's how these owners are. You come and you got this star on your helmet or whatever team it is. You got this logo on your helmet. You're representing us. And once you breach that trust, and once you make us look bad, we got to cut our losses and get rid of you.
Yep. I mean, it's about. I coached 12U, but I coached my son. One of the things I tell our kids is we've got two names on this jersey. You got an identity across the front, and your name's on the back. And I said you got to make them both proud today, because that's who you're playing for. You're playing for yourself, your family, your friends, whoever came to see you at the game. But you're also playing for that identity. For you, you had several jerseys you played for. But what I'm saying is, you got to give it all for that person, and don't forget yourself. I mean, it starts with you,
right?
If you're not willing to give it 100% for yourself, I mean, you're not going to do anything for Clemson or Dallas or whoever you're playing for. It doesn't matter. But my father's the same way. He's military raised. He just and he was very strong with that. And the thing is you don't want to embarrass your family. And I made the mistake of doing that way. Just being dumb as a kid. I only did that one time where I embarrassed my dad, and he let me know how he felt about it. He didn't discipline me or anything. One of those things where you don't have to say anything at all, and that hurts just as much. Yeah. That'll rip your guts out, man. I'm telling you, he didn't have to lay a finger on me to let me know about that.
And that's one of my driving passions. Playing the game of football or just watching football. I always had this thing in me. I did not want to let my teammates down. That's why I worked as hard as I did. These coaches trusted in me. I don't want to let my coaches down. But to your very strong point, I'm thinking I got a mom, I got a dad back at home who's done so much for me over the years. I'm not going to come out here because even the last words my dad said to me before I went off to college, he said, "Don't you go up there and be just a football player." So he was challenging me not only to do well on the football field, but broaden my horizons, get out, meet different people.
Yep.
And he always said this: if you're going to do something, do it.
Yep.
So essentially saying, hey, don't halfway do nothing. Once you commit to it, give everything you got.
Yep.
And for me, if I did anything less than that, then I was disappointing my father. I was, letting them down. And that's something I never want to do. And that's how I am now with my family. I do not want my family down.
We have another, at our high school, we tell the kids as well, when they're practicing and they're all together, you tell them, don't hurt the team. Don't go out over the weekend and do something foolish that's not just hurt yourself, but it's going to hurt the team. Because whatever you decide to do, that reflects not just you. That's the thing is, you got to remember, it's not about just you. It's about all these other cats around you that are, we represent something great. We don't want any negative, things going on in our lives where, on purpose, where, some things you can't handle or help, but there's some things that you can help. And, I call it manufactured drama. Our life is so complicated to begin with. Life is so hard to begin with. Why would you want to make it even more dramatic or more problems when you don't have to do all that? You know what I'm saying? It's just you're making all this up. I don't know.
I think that's one of the greatest lessons that ball teaches you. You think about when you're out on the field and you're playing, and you get a holding penalty. I held the defensive lineman trying to get to the quarterback, but the whole team gets penalized.
Yep.
And when it reminds me, because my dad taught me a lot, so that's what he said. We had a lot of conversations. He got on my nerves because when I would ask him a question, he would never answer it. He just asked me another question. But what he was doing was teaching me how to think critically and figure things out for myself. Every now and then, every blue moon, he would give me an answer. But he would talk about, hey, we Charleston, we're down at the beach in Charleston, And, we skipping rocks. And he throws a rock in the water, and you look at it, you see the water, boom. And he said, "You see the ripples?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "See, he said, this rock is your actions." He threw it in the water. He said, "Boom, you see the ripples?" He said, "It's just not the rock hitting. The rock hits the water, but the waves are going out. So that's going to affect something else." And I said, "Watch this." He said, "Even when the waves stop, the energy from that rock is still going to be going. So it's going to affect more than you know. So you got to be careful about the actions that you take or the things that you do. Like you said, don't go out and hurt the team, because I'm thinking it's just me under my. No, my actions affect other people. So not only do I get a consequence, but other people get consequences. Yeah. I decide to go out, stay out all night. I'm a little tipsy. Oh, I can drive back to my dorm. No. So we got to realize that our actions don't just affect us, they affect other people. And I think football, sports in general, really drives that point home.
Right. Well, that a lot of people tend to forget when something does happen. Just say, hypothetically speaking, Woody Dantzler goes out and does something stupid. The first thing they say is Clemson quarterback.
There you go.
You ever notice that? They don't say Woody Dantzler quarterback at Clemson. They say Clemson quarterback. They always leave with that. So that tells you right there, look, you're playing for more than just that team. It's about pride. It's taking pride in where you're at, what you're doing.
I guarantee you, if I did something foolish right now, that would be the first thing. Former Clemson quarterback, Dallas Cowboy, that's going to be this tagline. So now, man, no. I don't even want no parts of that.
No, and that's the thing is, you know, and as you get older, you realize, hey, you know, some of the things I thought were cool, or this is, you know, you have that idea where you're like, hey, this is going to be a great idea. It couldn't be far from the truth. It's so bad. But, I mean, I've had plenty of those ideas. I mean, like one time I wanted to have a pet alligator. I don't know why. Well, I can't tell you why. I just thought it was cool. Then I realized all the I realized all the grief that comes with it. Like, well, first of all, it's illegal.
Really?
Oh yeah, you can't have a pet alligator. I mean, unless you get like a license for it. Now, if you have like an alligator farm, now I don't know the logistics of it, but this is what my dad told me. He's like, all right, it's illegal. I mean, he had like a list. I wouldn't recommend it. What if it gets out? And so you got all these cons versus the pros per se. That scale and
yeah, we're not fooling with that. I don't want a dog, let alone an alligator.
Hey, that's the best part. Anybody can have a dog, but they can't. Not everybody can have an alligator. No. So let's go back to how good was your high school in football? Tell me a little bit about how good were you in high school? Like not just you. Like I know you were good enough to go to college. I'm saying, how good was your team? What high school did you say you went to again?
I went to Orangeburg Wilkinson.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that, a big school, small school?
At the time it was, we were 4A, which was biggest in the state. We've grown since then. And a few years back, South Carolina, we have 5A as well. So we've grown a bit more. But just kind of give an insight into the area that I live in, man. The dropout rate at the school, I mean, they've dropped down they've gotten down as low as 2A. But I think they just came back up to 3A this year because, but when we was in school, our team was pretty good. We were contenders every year.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't call us the juggernaut of the state, but we made it consistently to the first, second round of the playoffs when I was in school. I got a region championship underneath my belt there, won that as a junior. So we were competitive. We had a lot of athletes. I was at church yesterday of all places, and I was talking to a gentleman. He said, "Man, I just saw something on social media, and they said they were doing a I guess presenting in the state of South Carolina which high school produced the most NFL talent." and my high school was #1 in the state of South Carolina.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Produced the most NFL talent in the state.
That's awesome. So you came from a great program, and not only just a program but a school as well. I mean that's what it's all about, having that program where you where you produce the athletes. You can have athletes and just show up, but sometimes you have to make these guys. I mean, you make them, you put them in the right positions, you put them in the right predicaments or situations. And I mean, they do all the work pretty much, but you gotta lead them out there sometimes,
The coach, and that's what we had.
Great coaching. That's what I mean.
Yes. So yeah, he did a great job. I mean, matter of fact, my QB training that I do is called 1, 2, 3 Foundational Fundamental Training. And the tag phrase I took from my high school coach, he said, if you can learn the fundamentals of your position, you can play in any system. So he was big on fundamentals, make sure you understand the ins and outs of your individual position and how it fits in with the team. So those strides I take in my training, I'm really, really high focus on fundamentals. Because as you look out over we look over the landscape of sports now, fundamentals aren't being taught, not by the coaches much. They're so system oriented. That's why you see the specialized training taken off now, because kids not getting fundamental training from their coaches. Or if they are getting something fundamental, it's not good. So, man, it's just one of those things that it's transferable. So if you learn, as I'm in sales, if I know the fundamentals of selling, I can sell any product. So like I said, just going back to say how football and sports teach such great lessons if you know how to take them and transfer them over into life.
Right. I was going to say, we do the same thing with like 12U. I've had the same kids. Some of them come, because I've got, my son is in the 12U. There's you play 2 years of 12U. This is his first year in 12U, so he played 2 years of 8U and 2 years of 10U. So we've got some of the kids come back, and we're pretty good on the second year of each time. We won the district championship 2 years, so it's every other year we'll win one. And it just shows you that the kids, they respond to different teachings, but also when you have the same group of kids over and over, and they're able to be with each other and learn the same thing that that everybody else is learning, but they're all together is what I mean. We always play better that second year, and but it's hard to take one kid and I mean, I could pull one of the kids aside and teach, coach them up just a little bit, but I can't spend no more than a couple minutes doing that, because you got I coach D-line, and it's like I've got 10 kids, or maybe a little bit less, but you can't take that much time, on one kid. And it's not that I don't want to, it's just the fact that there's just that time limit is there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I get all that with the, showing fundamentals. I'm a big fan of or a big advocate for fundamentals. I really think that's something that we need. With the way we need to teach our kids the right way, so they're not only not get hurt, but not hurting each other. It's just
properly.
Yes. And once they learn that, once they get that initial fear out of their mind, I always like to say, these high schoolers that are here and they're afraid of contact, they wait till after they graduate and they go, man, if I could go back, I'd knock this guy out, or I'd hit him so hard. I'm like, why didn't you do that when you had 4 years to do it? You didn't do it then. What makes you not do it? It's that initial fear of not really knowing what to do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But a good coach knows how to see that. I'm sure your good coach can see that and then challenge them. That's when you get a kid. I mean, as an athlete, at some part, you got to take it on your own and get your butt and get out and start doing some stuff before practice, after practice. Right. You're more focused on you. your craft throughout the week. That's what the great ones do, man. So yeah.
I tell our kids, I'm like, hey, look, if you don't know what you're doing, please ask. Don't be afraid to ask, because I don't mind telling you. I don't care if you ask me 5 or 6 times. I'm going to be there to help. So I want you to know where you're going and what you're doing. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to be in the worst possible position. I want you to be in the best possible position. You know what I mean? I want you to that best foot forward so you can be better yourself. Not only, I don't want you hurting anybody else, but like I said, I want you hurting yourself to begin with.
Right.
So
that's key.
And it's so simple. People are like, of course it comes down to fundamentals. It's like, if you don't know the rules, I mean, it's like playing a board game and just making your own rules. Yeah.
That's fundamentals too, learn the rules. So yeah, all that. That's a lot. But here's the thing. That's the off season. That's what all season is for.
Yep.
That fun stuff.
Yep. So who was your rival? Who was your crosstown rival or your big rival in high school that you guys played? You don't have to play them every year, but someone that when you say their name, you're like, oh yeah, that was a dogfight every time.
Oh well, I would say our region rival would have been Aiken.
Aiken, okay.
That was a big game for us every year because typically the winner of that game will be the one who wins the region.
I got you.
So later on, it became Lexington. Irmo tried to be a rival, but not really. But I would say it was Aiken.
Right. I was going to tell you, we got some rivals down here, and it's like, just when you think you got somebody, pretty much figured out, somebody else pops up. And we were a 2, 3, 4A. We've been 2, 3, 4A school. It just fluctuates with the student body. Yep. But we've had times where we would play. Like one year we played Madison County, and we played Jacksonville Bowls. So Jacksonville Bowls is a private school in Jacksonville, and they were well coached. They had a head coach. Corky Rogers was the head coach. I think he won. I can't remember how many state championships, but they were really good. And one year we get by them, we're like, oh man, we're doing something right. And then the next game, we went and played Madison County, which is another big school. That's in a more rural area. It's right off of I-10, like going across the top of Florida. Beat them. We're like, oh man, hey man, what could be? I mean, what else could happen? I mean, who else do we got? We got everybody whooped, and then we played this team down in Miami called Chaminade. And it was they're a private school too, and I think they're private school. I can't remember exactly, but we gave them everything we had, man, and just fell short. But that was our big state championship moment that we went to, and it was man, the kids were. Kids, we still talk about that stuff. It's like, man, if this would happen, if this guy didn't get hurt or whatever, because it was. I literally said to the coach, our old head coach, I said, I had him on the show, and I said, hey, it was like going from a bar fight into a street fight, and then expecting to get past all that. We got past all that, and then it was like, once you get past both of those, you look around, and all of a sudden, it's like a B movie where you got the other guy coming over here like another villain. And you're like, oh my gosh! Like we just did all that.
Season 3.
Yeah.
You think you won? But here we go. We got to go at it all over again.
Yeah, and it's like you do what you can to get by these guys. These kids played their hearts out, and I just, oh my gosh, you felt for them. You're like, man, they just did. We've done. This is the furthest we've ever been, and it was like. Everybody's so happy and excited about going to the state championship game, and then all of a sudden, cue Chaminade, here we go. So it just, man, tough.
Change the dynamic, yeah.
Tough stuff.
Thanks for watching part 1 of this 2-part podcast. Check out full episodes on YouTube and Spotify.